Okay, and we have now moved on to chapter 10, which is case study. My best friend Brian was pretty bummed out after his girlfriend broke up with him. They had been in a relationship for almost 9 months when she dropped the bomb. It still hit him like a ton of bricks, even though he was half expecting it. Like most guys, Brian sensed something was up, but really didn't understand why or what to do to make things right again. He was literally completely lost. He didn't even come to me, his best friend, until it was too late. She had already broken up with him. His story was one I had heard a million times before. Slowly, his girlfriend started losing interest in him. She wouldn't call him as much, her tone of voice seemed different, she got annoyed at the smallest things, and she didn't laugh at his jokes. Overall, Brian felt pretty bad about himself. His self esteem was slowly being shot to pieces. When he finally came to me for help, his confidence was a total mess. I made him explain everything to me. I mean everything. I wanted to get the root cause of the breakup. I knew that even though she told Brian she just needed space, there was a deeper reason. There always is. As I suspected, Brian had developed a needy, approval seeking mindset, which was the root cause of his girlfriend's loss of attraction for him. For starters, he put way too much effort into the relationship. Remember, he who cares the least controls the relationship. When they first started dating, Brian described it as she was the one pursuing me. Brian was the one with the power. His girlfriend essentially followed his lead. Somewhere along the line, the male female polarity, as I call it, shifted. His girlfriend began assuming more of a dominant role, while Brian became more and more submissive. I explained to Brian that this was quite natural. When women are hard coded to test men con- and continuously push the boundaries of relationship. It wasn't really her fault, as she had no conscious control over it. She literally had to do it. What Brian should have done was to maintain his dominance and not give her a bratty, give in to her bratty behavior. He should have put his foot down and made it clear from the very beginning that he would not put up with her lack of respect. Unfortunately, that is not what he did. He gave her he gave her unreasonable demands and slowly began to put her needs far ahead of his own. To women, this is weak behavior, and they will lose attraction rapidly once they have taken control of the relationship. At this point, she has no longer seemed interested in sex or any type of intimate encounter. Pretty common stuff I hear about all the time. You see, once a woman has essentially turned her mate into a beta male, beta male, she will lose attraction, stop having sex with him, either break up with him or cheat on him with an alpha male. Now, I know Brian, and I know that when he first started going out, he was definitely the alpha male, and it saddened me to see him change so much. I had to be brutally honest with him. I had to tell it like it was, even if it meant hurting his feelings. I knew it was for his own good. I explained to Brian that he had to take back control and present himself as the high value guy he once was. I sat him down and made him compare the man he once was in a relationship to the man he had become months later. That was a real revelation for Brian. It it its reality hit him. He had he admitted that he was no longer the fun-loving, spontaneous guy he used to be. As he thought about it more and more, Brian realized he had slowly become more and more insecure. He would lash out at his girlfriends for talking to for at his girlfriend for talking to other guys, ask where she was, who she was with all the time, and generally be the overly protective boyfriend. I could see it in his eyes. He suddenly knew why she no longer wanted to be with him. Then came the hard part. How the heck could he turn things around? How could he re-attract her? I told him this wasn't actually the hard part at all. He needed to stop contacting her and wait until she initiated contact with him. He needed to use this to reconnect with his masculine attractive side and work on building up his self-esteem so he could secure himself once again. Excuse me. The first step he took was to take all of his ex's things and put them in a box. He was going to put the box under his bed, but I made him stash it at my place instead. This way, I was sure he wouldn't get drunk one night and look through her things and call her up crying. That would just be devastating. So the box went under my bed. Next, excuse me. Sorry about that. Sorry, I lost my place. Next, Brian and I hit the mall. He knew how to dress fairly well as it was, but that wasn't really the point. I wanted him to feel new and fresh. New clothes always make a person feel 10 times more confident, especially if they're great looking clothes. As for working out, I urged him to excuse me, to start going to the gym. Turns out he actually wanted an excuse to get back in shape. The only bad news was he wanted me to join him. Mr. I'm a lazy bastard and never get off my butt. Oh well, I figured I'd do it for my best friend. That night, we called up a bunch of our friends and went out together. I have to admit, I was happy to have Brian back in the game. I miss the old times when we used to have just him and I partying all night. I could tell he was actually looking at things more positive in a more positive light now, and maybe even missed those times too. I made sure to invite a few of the girls I knew out so Brian could get used to flirting again. Turns out one of the girls liked him quite a bit. I was happy to hear they had also arranged for a date. Nice. As you can imagine, Brian was pretty happy. His self esteem shot through the roof, but I knew he still needed to actually convey all the confidence and self worth to his ex girlfriend. The next night we went out, I made sure to bring my digital camera and took along a bunch of pictures. Brian and his ex both had Facebook, so I posted them on his account. There were a few pics of his new mystery girl sitting on Brian's lap. His ex was sure to see them and get rather jealous. And as always, I was right. It was going on a little over a week since Brian initiated the no contact, and she finally caved that weekend. She called him up, acting all innocent, asking what he was up to. Brian didn't take that as an opportunity to brag. He just brushed it off and said he was spending time out with the guys. Then she asked if he wanted to hang out, which he agreed. Sure, he said. I'm picking up a new pair of jeans. Could you help me look for something nice? Attaboy, Brian. Just what I told him to say, and she quickly agreed. The next day, sorry. Well, anyway, I'll finish this off in the next section coming up soon, which will be what happens the next day. So, hope to see you again soon. Come back and watch the rest.